Hey there, it's your host, Cindy Chang, founder of Evolve Consulting Co. and the visionary behind an exciting new venture launching in 2025, making staffing accessible for companies of all sizes. Welcome back to the Fearless Entrepreneurs podcast, where we dive deep into the stories behind Canada's most inspiring brands. Together, we'll uncover how these bold entrepreneurs sparked their dreams, tackled their toughest challenges, and leaned into their fears to achieve success. I'm thrilled you're here, bold enough to embrace the hard truths and inspired to learn from their journeys. Ready to dive in? Let's go. Everyone, meet Sarah Colby, the creative powerhouse behind Timberwood Designs, a husband and wife-based business here in Ontario, Canada. Together, Sarah and her husband, Josh, craft beautiful and personalized wooden decor that transforms nurseries into magical spaces. From custom signs to charming baby blocks, their work is all about helping families celebrate life's most precious moments. But Timberwood Designs is more than just a business. It's a true labor of love. Inspired by Sarah's own parenting journey, she is a dedicated teacher by trade, working with special needs kids who are blind and deaf, a role that she balances alongside running her thriving business. Here is where it gets even more interesting, is that in the 4 years of this business, Timberwood Designs, Sarah has never relied on paid advertising. Instead, they've built an incredible relationship with influencers, growing their brand organically and authentically. And I remember just checking before the show, you're at 31,000 followers on Instagram, which is crazy that you've never relied on paid advertising. So I can't wait to get into that. Whether she's brainstorming with families on baby names or collaborating with celebrities from The Bachelor and Survivor, Sarah has proven that blending heart, craftsmanship, and community can create something truly extraordinary. I can't wait for you to hear her story and learn about her unique approach to social media as an entrepreneur and discover the magic behind Timberwood Designs. Sarah, welcome to the show. It's such an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I just see you beaming from ear to ear because you should be so proud of all the accomplishments that you've achieved with Timberwood Designs. And we tried not to get too excited before the show to talk about them because I really want that excitement and that magic to happen during the show. Tell us a little bit about, you're a teacher, what did your husband do beforehand, and how did you guys find Timberwood Designs?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wish I had really prepared how everything came to life. We had my daughter in 2017, and in 2019, we had my son. And at that point, my daughter was about 2.5, and I really loved these baby blocks that I had seen online, but they were only sold in the States. And I thought, oh, I really want them. And it's, let's buy a machine.
Yeah.
Which is so odd to do that instead of just buying the blocks.
That is not typically people's initial reactions, but I love this, right? Okay.
But with Josh's background, he already had a hardwood flooring company, and he is a craftsman by trade. He can make all of my dreams come true in the house, fireplace, chairs, tables, like
dream.
Anything you want, he can do. So I thought, we're going to do some baby blocks.
Yeah.
And I figured we'll use them for all of my friends who are pregnant. They're going to have their babies, and the machine will pay for itself.
That's so smart.
That's where we went with that.
Yeah.
And then we noticed that people really liked the blocks. So we thought, okay, let's try selling a few on Facebook Marketplace and see how it goes. And we sold a lot. And then we thought, okay, so do we want to make this a thing? Are we going to do this in the evenings? Where are we going to do it? Because it's just set up in the garage.
Right.
The kids were young enough. They go to bed at 7, and then we spend 3 hours in the evening in the garage working on blocks, figuring out the machines, and that's where Timberwood Designs started.
That is so crazy. And so what's a lot on Facebook Marketplace? Like, you guys went from making your own blocks to, like, how many orders were you doing in your garage?
Probably 8 to 10 orders a night of blocks.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know that's like small scale, but when you're just doing it in your garage and you only have 3 hours, that's your full 3 hours.
That's a lot. That's a lot,
Yeah.
right? And if it's consistent, like 8 to 10 on a daily basis, that is pretty impressive for a machine that you were just going to get because
We wanted
you
to
were
make
going
some
do
crafts.
baby blocks on your own. Oh my God, that sounds like me and my husband. I love that. I have an idea, so let's just go all into it. And how did you guys come up with the name Timberwood Designs, or does that align with his flooring company? Did that have anything to do with it?
We tried to have something that had wood in it without really talking about wood because we didn't know where we would go with it. Were we going to stay niche for babies? Were we going to expand it? And then just the way it unfolded, we stayed niche for just nursery design and decor. So at least Timberwood Designs leaves it open enough if we wanted something else in the future, but that's just where it stayed for now.
So your husband had owned his own flooring business, and you are a full-time teacher. You and I have talked about this before. You travel to different schools. You assist blind and deaf kids in all of the schools here in Halton, and you do the marketing and the social media for Timberwood Designs on the side. So how did you get assigned that role?
You know what? We were both sharing the Facebook Marketplace things.
Yeah.
But a lot of moms want to send their nursery photos to you. And sometimes I felt like that's hard for Josh to know what to say to this mom about her nursery. Whereas I'm like, okay, I start making these set sentences for him to say. And then it was like, this one's for me.
So funny.
And he'd always have to be like,
nursery.
she sent this photo. So let me look at it. Let's see which color block she wants or what's going to match in the room. That's really why we had to do it.
And was that always like a passion for, did that excite you when you were doing all of that stuff, or you did it by default and you just discovered that you were actually an expert on this?
I don't know if I'm an expert on it.
I would say you're borderline.
But I think the design part of Timberwoods is what I really enjoyed. Making my own children's nurseries, they were above and beyond, and I had to have specific things that I wanted, and the colors and everything had to match. So I think it gave me that insight. And I don't have a design background in that sense, but some parents want the advice of, this is the color of the crib, this is the color of the dresser, which wooden sign would match.
Yeah.
So then we go through it.
Wow. So you just did it based on an interest. Did you start with the blocks with your kids, or did you guys are most known for the names on top of the cribs, right?
And that all started, again, just through social media. We were doing the blocks, and then when we decided, okay, try to see if we can expand past Facebook Marketplace. Can anyone else order from us? Let's test mailing them and things like that. And I reached out to one of the influencers that I had been following for years, Jessica Van Galen. So she was one of my favorites. She had 75,000 followers. And I thought, she'll never even read my email. But she did. And so we sent her some blocks, and she did a story on them and then a story giveaway. And from that day on, like, the blocks exploded.
Wow.
And then probably a month later, Jess had a question in her story saying, I'm looking for a name sign like this. Do you guys know anyone who makes one?
Yeah.
We'd never made a name sign before, but I sent her a message being like, we can do that.
Yeah.
And she was like, great. And we're like, oh my gosh, like, we better go to the garage and we better figure out how to even do this, because we've now told an influencer who has all these followers that we can do it.
Oh
so
God,
then we went back
hilarious.
and forth with her about the different types of wood, because most sign companies use plywood and paint them.
Yeah.
But we really wanted a different, more natural feel. So we use the solid hardwood like maple, walnut, cherry, hickory. And so we decided that the maple was going to match her. She had a feature wall and she had a wooden crib. So the maple was going to match it perfectly. And then it was how to decide which font to use. Because again, most of the companies will list like 20 different fonts and you can pick them. So what we did was we created our own font. Ooh. It is in our friend Britt, a graphic designer's handwriting. So no other sign company has our font. One of the things that sets us apart a bit in the sense that you could order a nursery sign out of plywood out of the same font from any company, but ours is that one that's different.
And you only offer the one font, or you have different fonts that you offer for people?
For our signature scripts, we only offer our signature font. And then we did expand probably 2 years ago to include a capital font that we also created.
Wow.
So we have two fonts that are both ours, which is nice.
And you know what? Honestly, I think that is the way to go because choosing a font, I don't know what looks good. I just need someone to just make it look nice for me. And so that would be great is if you had, hi, here's a capital option and a not capital option. There you go.
Yes.
Right? I didn't know that. And I think that is definitely what sets you guys apart, and it makes sense with the custom high quality crafted wood signs is that you use a good quality wood, you don't just use plywood, and you also have a custom very unique font. So your friend Britt, who's the graphic designer, she is like kind of a celebrity because she's been in
She should be.
many signs
Yes.
already. You should do a feature on her.
And so many people, it's such a compliment when someone says, is this your sign? And it's like, yeah. It is. And like, you know that because nobody else has this font. So it's really cool because sometimes people don't tag us or they have a private account and I can't see it and someone sends it to me. It's yes, that's us.
That's our font. And you recognize it. Like you can recognize it from a mile away what your font looks like.
Yeah.
That's cool, Sarah. I didn't know that. I think that is very fascinating. And so your journey to be a teacher, let's talk about that because it's very different than Timberwood Designs. What kind of got you into teaching?
I think I was just one of those kids that always wanted to be the teacher.
Are you?
I like to be the boss and things like that. So
I would say quite the opposite, Sarah. Like when I first met you, I didn't know you were a teacher. But like when you told me you were a teacher, it made so much sense. Your aura is teacher-esque. You're nurturing. You're like so easy to talk
so
to.
kind.
No, I mean it, right? And then, of course, you also then work with special needs children. And I'm like, you're like a Disney princess.
You are too much.
Really? I'm telling you. And my daughter's kindergarten teacher, too, she was born to be a teacher. Like she knew in grade 1 she wanted to teach kindergarten, and she teaches kindergarten. But she is the same personality as you. She's very like teacher-esque is what I call it, but it's all good things. So you've been a teacher for how long?
Oof, I don't want to date myself, but I think I'm going on 13, 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started in the Niagara board.
Yeah.
And then moved back home to here in Hamilton. And this is where I went to school. And now this is where I teach.
Amazing. I'm just trying to picture your day. You have 2 kids, 2 young kids too, 5 and 7, and you have the full-time job and you do this. So how much time does Timberwood Designs occupy for you outside of your 2 other full-time jobs?
It used to occupy a lot more.
Okay.
So Josh and I would both be in the garage. We'd both be sanding, working on the machines and doing things like that. When we got the shop, that's when Josh went full-time into Timberwood Designs and no longer did his other business.
Yeah.
And so that was when I got to move away from the physical labor part of it and really get into the website, the social media, and all of the things that come with that. I do try to set the limits on Instagram because you can set a time limit.
Yes.
So I do set myself to an hour time limit a day now.
An hour a day?
An hour a day.
Tough.
It is tough.
I set it till 3 and every time I'm like, ignore.
And we did start during COVID, this
Right.
business. So there was a lot of time to be on social media and build that foundation that I'm not sure if we opened now, we would have the time to put into it like we did then.
Yeah. No, and
so
that
it's one of those
sense.
blessings and a curse during COVID, right?
Yeah.
That could have ended your business. It could start your business.
It carved out really that space for you to do that. I think that's amazing. And so now do you find it manageable as a social medium to do the social media, to do it an hour a day?
We use a scheduling program now. So we do use a couple different programs to help us. I would never want it to look poorly on me as a teacher that a post went out at 10 a.m. I made that 3 weeks ago. I didn't actually post that at 10 a.m. We did move to a scheduling program so that I can spend a couple weekends and I'll have a month's worth of content that we're putting up there.
Yeah.
And we did move just in the last year to a lot of behind the scenes, which has really helped for content creation as well. Because then
good.
Josh sets up the camera, he's cutting the blocks or he's cutting a name sign or he's packaging. So a lot of the content doesn't include me. I'm just doing the editing.
Got it. How did you learn all of this?
I think the teaching background really helped me with that because I feel like all teachers are these lifelong learners. Like we're always in professional development. We're always learning new things. So that's what I put into play for this. I was taking social media courses. I was watching specific people about how to do the SEO on the website. YouTube is my best friend because it shows me everything.
So you literally self-taught yourself from the school of Google and YouTube.
Correct.
That's how I feel like this is how a lot of entrepreneurs are, though. It's like they either found a passion and they went for it, or they fell into their business accidentally, which is how you ended up in it. I ended up in my business too. It just found us. And it was like the perfect synergy of all these different weird things that probably wouldn't have happened if things were normal and COVID didn't happen, but it did. And that's what really put everything together into one package for you. Now, you have some pretty exciting stuff in your entrepreneurial journey and how you really built that social media following. And so I know that you've had partnerships with pop stars and contestants from The Bachelor that have purchased your name signs, people like Ari and Lauren and Astrid and Kevin, athletes like Barbie Koba, who's a wrestler, and I know your journey started with Jessie Millay, who is a pop star. So walk us through, okay, so you're on Facebook Marketplace, you were selling 8 to 10 a night. You were like, let's try this on Instagram now. How did you grow from, let's start on Instagram to now 31,000 followers? Let's fill in the gap there.
We started with Jessica Van Galen. She did that story giveaway for us for the blocks. And then she was like, can you do a name sign? So then we started making name signs. Mm-hmm. And then one day we opened our email and there's an email from an agent requesting a name sign for a client. It's an agent knows about us. We live in Stony Creek. How does this agent in California find us?
Yeah.
I guess she found us through our first collaboration. So after Jessica posted her name sign, I think we got 1,000 followers that night. I don't know, maybe 20 orders that night. And we didn't even have a website yet. So it's one of those things that's, oh boy, we bit off a little more than we can chew here. But then it was, okay, now we need a website. And now we're putting that on there. And that's how we built those connections with our first clients was we didn't have a website. I had to ask them a lot of questions. I had to get to know what size do you want it? And then eventually we have set sizing now.
Yeah.
So those first clients are the ones that sent us photos, probably because we talked so much about this first order that they wanted to show us their nursery. So it really built the foundation of our first social media was that we had so many client photos that were sent to us out of the kindness of their own hearts because they wanted to show their beautiful nursery.
Yeah.
And so that helped us. And I guess this agent saw some of those first photos and showed it to Jessie Millay, the pop star. And she's an influencer now. And she has a whole bunch of companies that she's always talking about on her business. And then once we posted her, then it just started snowballing from there, from which different person. And then we started reaching out to more people because we thought the first one, Jessica, liked our blog. So maybe somebody that we watch on TV all the time, because I'm a fangirl for The Bachelor Nation.
Me too.
I watch every
gosh.
season, every
Me
episode.
too.
I know exactly. And I love when they have a family and have babies after it. Like
chills.
it's
Yes.
like it worked.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've reached out to quite a few, and we are in a lot of the Bachelor nurseries. And then we thought, okay, let's reach out to some on Survivor. And we just had a few people from there. And then Barbie Blanks had messaged us. And so she's a WWE. And it just seems to be that it's this referral word of mouth now.
So you're basically like the nursery go-to, like for the Bachelor Nation. It's if you've been on The Bachelor, you have a baby. Basically, you need to get your signs from Timberwood Designs, right?
That is what I would like people to start saying.
They should have T-shirts and everything. I love that. And so you just started reaching out to people, and they were like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Like nursery sign, I'm here for it." Right?
And I know we got really lucky in the sense that some people for collaborations require payment.
Yeah.
And like you had said, it's just Josh and I. Like we don't have the budget for that type of advertising. So a lot of them just put it in their nursery and we didn't ask anything in return. It was just this is a gift. We hope you like it. And if you like it, maybe you could tell people about it.
Oh.
And for Ari and Lauren, Ari was doing like a tour of his daughter Alessi's bedroom. And we were just like in the background of a tour. I think he was like talking about wallpaper or something. But like it was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to us. We're like, that's our sign.
Did he tag you or how did you know?
Nothing like that. Okay. Well, I follow him. Like, So it was one of those that we saw it and it was like, we're going to send this to everyone that we know. And then after that, I guess people had been messaging him saying, where'd you get the sign? And then the next day he did a story about us and the sign. So it was organic and people liked seeing that it was organic because, there's so many ads on Instagram now and so many people with paid promotions that they have to put on there as opposed to he liked the sign and just told people that he liked it. So
wow. And I think that's what's really extraordinary about your growth story too, is that all of it was very organic. Like you did your part in reaching out to people who are having babies and that have influence, like a circle of people that follow them. But you're right, like a lot of these brand partnerships are very costly. So I think it's a smart strategy, and I'm sure you can talk about in cases where it hasn't worked, right? But the ones that do work, saying this is a gift, you can post it if you want to, this is our brand just in case, that's really worked. So when hasn't it like not worked for you?
I won't name drop, but some of our influencers, it really depends if I've reached out to them or they've reached out to us.
Yeah.
So if they reached out to us, it's almost 100% guarantee that they're going to post it just because why else would you reach out to me? Like you must like it. So it's really nice when they do post it. And sometimes they'll tag us. Sometimes they'll put us in the comments. Like sometimes they do the YouTube nursery tour and put our website link right on YouTube, which is so helpful for people to come and place their orders. But we have had some that we've all signed contracts and then they just didn't do what they said they were going to do. Mm-hmm. But as a small business, what am I going to do about it?
Right.
I can't chase them or ask them. It's sometimes you have to really put your emotions aside. That hurt our feelings that they didn't post it.
Do you ever get brand partnerships that then circle back and it's, I'd love to have your nursery sign, but you need to give us X amount of money, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you do get that a lot because I think influencers are worth their while.
Yeah.
Like they definitely should be paid. And I in no way am saying that no one should pay their influencers. But I know big brand companies are probably already paying for that nursery for one of the large ticket items that are in it. Yeah. Which is why we'll send the sign and just hope they'll send us a photo.
Right.
Because the photos are what we need as that social proof that, look, our clients do like it. Look how beautiful the nursery can turn out with it in there.
Right. And I think you bring up a really good point because this is partially their jobs, right? So that's how they make money is through brand partnerships and things like that. But for small businesses and micro influencers or even for influencers that trade services or products, a lot of the times this is something that is appealing for them too. So as long as it's a good collaboration, it makes sense.
And they're probably already collaborating on the crib.
Yeah.
Or the bed sheets or the wallpaper behind, like all of those type of things are large companies.
Right.
And then you just add a name sign on top.
Just to make it perfect. Just Timberwood Designs. Yeah. Just that extra cherry on top. I love that so much. And so you are a part of a lot of people's emotional journeys when they first have a baby. And I know you had spoken about this in one of the events that we've gone to where you spoke about your business and just the success through building through social media. What kind of emotional or memorable customer stories have you really been a part of that has really stood out in your mind?
I think the nicest part for us is that on social media, whenever someone follows us, I try to send them a welcome message.
Yes.
I try not to sell to them in the welcome message. I'm just saying, thanks for being here. If you have any questions, I'm here too. So let me know. So that's where a lot of our communication starts with our customers. And sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes they'll like it and we just move on. But then I do find like maybe 6 months later, they have a question because now they're far enough in their pregnancy.
Yes.
They're ready to start placing this order. So that's where our first connection builds. And then I just built it into our website at the checkout. There's a note section that says, is there anything special that you'd like to share with us about your pregnancy, about the baby's name and things like that? Because that's where we're bringing some of our social media content from. So they'll tell us their story, and then we get to tell their story through the work that we're building for them. So we do get a lot of like beautiful messages about like where the baby's name came from. It's a past parent and they're going to use the name, or a loved one that lives far away, or you hear about the couple that wherever they were vacationing, they kept seeing the same street name sign in multiple cities, and that's the name they named their baby. It's really cool when they share that with you, because they don't have to. Yeah. But I do love the notes section on our website. As soon as we get an order, that's the only thing I'm checking.
That's the first thing you look at.
It's like, I don't even need to know what the baby's name is anymore. I just need to know what that story is.
And then it kind of like reinforces the entire like package of what you're making for people, which is such an important like investment for them, because this is really their first journey into parenthood. Something that you touched on that I just want to elaborate more on is every single person that follows your brand, you send a message to. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I think that is so smart and so fascinating at the same time.
And sometimes it feels like you're crazy, though, because that hour that I'm giving myself for social media can just be sending
messages.
So I do try to do that like once a week now, whereas before it would be like someone followed and it'd be like, I better send that welcome message.
Yeah.
Like right
oh my
away.
God.
Like, I better welcome them in. Like,
yeah.
So now I try to do it separately, and I don't do it during giveaways anymore, because you get an influx during a giveaway. It's a lot. I do want that communication, because we are the small business, and you can buy a name sign for Amazon, Temu, Etsy, like all these different places now, but that's not what we're selling.
Yeah.
Like, we're selling this handcrafted piece that's going to be perfect for their nursery. And if they have questions about sizing, about colors, if they want to send me their nursery photos, I'll help them with that.
You have like lengthy discussions with these moms to like design and tailor bespoke this sign for their nursery. So I think that's something that's very special, and something that I hope you're really proud of, because it is very different than just ordering something like off a manufacturer or like a production. It is very different, because this is something that's very bespoke and custom made. Let me just wrap my mind around this.
About all
every single person, all 31,000 person that has liked and followed the profile, they're talking to you directly, the business owner. You're like sending a message to them that's automated. I know the message is like a template.
But I will go in and I will check their name and I will put their name in. And sometimes their name isn't there. So then you have to like actually go to their profile to find their name. But I do it because I do want them to know that it isn't just an automated message, because there are lots of companies that, you know, you get an automated message when you send a DM. But when they send a DM, it's me. I'm going to message you back as soon as the kids are in bed.
And then do you feel like people like that, or they're like, why are you...
Most of the feedback has been very positive. A lot of people say, no one's ever done that. Thank you for that. And a lot of the reviews we receive are like, as soon as I followed, she messaged me and I knew that we were going to work together, and then I was going to get the sign when the baby was born.
Yeah.
And then I do find, too, I can go back in those messages and see when I first sent the welcome message. And it's nice to see that they've been following us for 2 years. So, like, we've been a part of that pregnancy journey. And it is very emotional when you've been chatting with someone and they have named their baby, and then there's a loss. And they will sometimes message me about it, and we'll talk about it. And then there's also that joy when they get to message me again to let me know they are expecting again.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so I'm in people's homes in a weird social media way.
You're like a part of their fertility journey, really. And the thing is, I didn't even think about that part of it, is the fertility journey is already something that is so personal to women, whether you've been through the fertility journey itself, whether you've had losses, which we've talked about on the podcast before. Like, women are directly and individually impacted by all of these stories and journeys as they become mothers. And so to have you follow along over the last 4 years on their journeys, I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot and you've been there alongside as a part of that healing journey for them, or even just an external ear that's not their families to talk about wins and losses.
And a lot of people do that too, where they say, you're the only person I've told the name to. What an honor. Like, we're not even in your family, but you can't tell your family because you want to keep this secret, but you want to tell someone. And so you can tell me.
I would imagine people like in your business feel that, but also bakers when they do like gender reveals. Yes, I think that is a big part of it, right?
And I always find it such a compliment. Like when we get an order, a lot of them come in overnight because the majority of our customers are American, so the time change.
Yeah.
So when you check like what they've ordered and they have their birth stats engraved on the back of a block, and you look at it and you're like, this baby was born like 6 hours ago.
Oh,
and so they're still in the hospital just placing this order. And that is like the highest compliment we could get.
Oh my God. That is so special. I think that's like you being there at such a special moment. And then do you ever watch these kids grow up and you're like, I knew you from before you were born, basically, right?
Yeah. And it's another a very high compliment when their second baby's born and they come back to order again.
Yes.
Because we are that niche business where they're not going to order too many things from us, right? Like how many babies do you have? 2 to 4. You might order 4 from us.
But they have friends. Maybe that's like a great gifting thing. The blocks, I think, is
are always the
baby
shower favorite.
Yeah. Interesting. I have some in mind that I'm going to need to place an order from you. But I think that's interesting too, based on variety, is like, I know you for your name signs. I know you guys do the blocks because Josh cuts them in the reels all the time, which I love to just watch it. Like,
doesn't. Those are the only ones that go viral.
People just love to watch like how things are made.
Yeah.
I do feel like people have a mild obsession with watching like how things are just put together. Tell Josh I'm going to come visit. I've already met him. He's so nice. But I'm going to come because I have a secret love for woodworking.
Okay. You got to come. You can be our new photographer.
Okay.
We're always trying to get up the different stands.
I'm not a good photographer. However, fun fact for you, I took the woodworking 101 class at Mohawk College like a year and a half ago, and I built a shelf and I built a chair. So I think I just have a
when we're hiring, it's you, eh?
Yes. I'll just come volunteer my hours and just tell Josh to teach me how to make it. I will find it so fascinating. I love that. Thank you so much I just voluntold myself for a job. So that's perfect. What's that next chapter for Timberwood for you?
We haven't really thought about the growth part of it because we're almost at our capacity at this point.
Yeah.
So we did just introduce before the Christmas break that we're doing drops in a sense, whereas previously we were open every day, all day, 24 hours a day. You could order one of our signs.
Yeah.
Whereas now the kids are older. We have to get them to their different sporting activities.
Oh, yes.
Like we have different commitments in our lives that we can only make a set amount of signs a month now.
Okay. What struggles did you go through that ended up now like creating that system for you? Like you had to go through that. Yeah.
And at the beginning, it was really difficult for us because we were Facebook Market sellers. So everyone was local. They could come pick it up in a little bag and that was easy. And then as soon as we had to go to shipping these name signs, it's like, how do we get these name signs to California and they not snap and break, right? They're fragile in that sense, but like they are solid hardwood. A plywood sign can make it easier in the mail, jostled around, whereas ours are an intricate script. The L's are quite long and the S's drop low.
Some of it is like thin.
Yeah. So that was always our biggest struggle at the beginning. And then we decided to invest in custom boxes that have a fold over and an ECT count that's much higher.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing the breaks that we used to see. There's nothing more disheartening than seeing like the actual tire wheels on a box. Like it got run over. That's so painful. Like we worked to make that.
How long does each sign take for you guys to make on average?
Well, we have about 3 machines running now. Different names are running at the same time. The largest time-consuming spot is for Josh when he's doing the sanding because we do sand them satin smooth. I know the babies aren't touching them. They're up on the wall. But that's the point of it is that they're like butter if you were to really toucher sign. So it's the sanding part that takes the most time.
He's hand sanding these bad boys.
Yes, on a sander, because you can't put it through a drum sander because of all the different script
And the
attributes.
nooks
So
and the
some of them, if
crannies.
it's going to snap it in there. So he is hand sanding them.
Wow. Also why that's something it stands aside from the other signs that you see in the marketplace is that you literally put your labor of love into this. I didn't even think about that. And through this Canada Post strike, did that impact you guys in terms of shipping?
Now, we haven't used Canada Post for a few years.
Okay.
We use a different shipping company, but the Canada Post, it affected us in the sense that all the other companies had to start to take on Canada Post. And so then they put limits. So I think one day we had to deliver to 6 different shipping couriers because no one would take all 25 packages that day. Right. So it was like 6 had to go to this one, 5 had to go here. And you had to know like this place was only taking Ontario and Quebec. Okay, so those ones go there.
Oh my gosh.
And we weren't as impacted as I know some other companies were. And we're so thankful for that. But there were a couple hiccups in there how are we going to get those there?
Because it messed everyone's operations up. Good for the other businesses that took on that business load, but what a mess for other people.
I know.
What do you think the biggest lesson that entrepreneurship has taught you?
I think it's the human connection part. A lot of small businesses reach out to you and they want to know, what machines do you have? And it's community over competition all the time. Like, these are the machines we have. This is how we learned how to use them. Check out this YouTube video.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the entrepreneur community is how much everyone is really willing to help each other. And I'm so glad you said that, because what I find is that most entrepreneurs, I can't say all entrepreneurs, but most entrepreneurs are so willing to help each other. They're not like, oh, I'm going to keep everything for myself and this information is not going anywhere. Everyone is so willing to help each other. So I love that you said that, and that there's an abundance of things to go around for everyone. There's enough business to go around. And so if you were to enter 2025 with one word for your business, what would that be?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
No,
That's
I got to
okay.
think about it.
Yeah, think about it.
What word would you use for yours?
Abundance.
Abundance.
Yeah. I was asked that technically this morning on my coaching session. I work with a business coach. This year, she was like, we're starting this year. What's your word? And I actually said intention, right? Because I'm so busy in my business. I need to streamline and focus on intention. But mine has always been abundance, because I just believe that there's enough business out there for everyone.
Yes, I know. Yeah. I think for 2025, what my side plan is to actually set goals. And I would only be setting them because of that guy that you're getting on your podcast, Matt, sent his email with his goals in it. And I'm like, I have never set business goals.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like we set goals, but we never write down our goals and see if we've done them. So I don't know if my words would be goal setting or growth or something like that.
I love that. I think that's great, because you guys have had a 4-year track record of what you're able to produce year over year. So what's great is that's already data that exists, right? And it's just where you want to take it this year. That's very exciting.
Yeah. So we're gonna write some goals down, and we're gonna try to check them off this year.
Love it. I love that. Okay, so at the end, I usually like to ask some rapid fire questions. I have a couple that are Bachelor related. So what's your favorite Bachelor season that you've seen?
It's Ari and Lauren.
Oh my gosh.
It is.
That one had so much drama.
He didn't pick her.
I know.
And then knew he had to pick her. And now look at their beautiful life.
It's crazy.
It's so nice that they found each other and it works, and they have these beautiful children, and their life is just this fairy tale, and they deserve it. And they found each other.
And there were a few Bachelor seasons that really took a lot of twists and turns. And his was very twist and turny. Because you're right, he didn't choose her. And then afterwards was I was meant to choose you. So who is the nicest Bachelor or that has been a customer for Timberwood that you've spoken to that you're just oh, what a surprise and what a delight?
It would be Astrid.
Oh, yeah. And she lives here in Hamilton.
Local, and that's so nice that they're here. And if I'm doing a giveaway, sometimes she'll share it. And she's not even involved with it. She's just that kind that it had nothing to do with her, but she knew it would make a difference in our business.
Yeah.
And she'll do it. And she's always fundraising for infertility because that's what their family went through.
Yeah.
I appreciate that it's not just the paid partnerships on her page.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of her page is heart.
And I do feel that from them and from her, and for her to be like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to up and move to Hamilton, Canada. That was big for her to do. Oh gosh, we could talk about we could do episode.
Yeah, let's just do
on
Bachelor.
The Bachelor, because I could talk about and you know what? Secretly, I fell off after Chris Harrison left.
Yes.
It was hard. It was hard for me to picture the Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise without Chris Harrison. But now they found a good host,
yes.
right? Jesse Palmer, who's also Canadian.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he grew up in Ottawa. He's actually friends with one of my best friends. He was at her wedding, like we've met before. He's Canadian.
Wow.
Yeah, small worlds, right? Okay, are you a dogs or cats person?
Neither, but we do have a dog.
Neither. Tell me more.
I have allergies to almost like every animal. Yeah. So our dog is a hypoallergenic dog and we're not allergic to her.
Oh my gosh. What's one word that describes your journey?
We'll go with strong.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
And it was a big leap for our family, for Josh to leave an established business, to start a brand new business that you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
And do it during COVID years. So we had to be strong. I think it brought our relationship together to be stronger as well, because COVID was really difficult on a lot of couples.
Oh my gosh.
Whereas I'd say COVID and this business brought us together and made us stronger in the sense that we're working together now. Yeah. This isn't a you go to work and I go to work. Like we're working together. For hours. And it's on something that we both want to see succeed.
I love that. And as you're saying that, do you find, and a lot of entrepreneurs feel this way, especially if they're like husband and wife entrepreneurs, is that they almost view businesses as like having a child, right? You're in it together. You have to make it work for it to be successful. It's almost like you're birthing a business. Would you feel like that's
It's definitely
the case?
Our third child.
Yeah.
Like when the kids are sick and Josh has to stay home with them, if they're not too sick, they'll come to the shop with him. They're there. They know everything about it. My daughter would hand out our business cards at the park. She just is adorable in that sense
She hands out your business
supports
card.
us. Like there's a baby. Like they're going to need a sign because that's who's at the park. I'm like, you're so sweet. She should be our marketing director.
She's like marketing coordinator.
Yes.
Marketing and training.
She's going to take it
right?
over when I feel like retiring.
So how did this business impact your kids? And the reason why I ask that is I find that with entrepreneurs, it can go one way or the other. It could really inspire your children. Like my parents were entrepreneurs, so it really gave me an understanding of what entrepreneurship was like. But I've also had people in my life that their kids just hated the business as a result of it. So how has the business changed your kids?
I think it's really helped getting the shop. When it was in the garage, the business sort of seeped into everything. Right. Sometimes you'd get an order and be like, I'm just going to go to the garage. It's no, we got to make dinner. We can't just sneak away to go do that. I got to go to the garage. I got to get that done. No, we don't. So having that separation, I think, is good for the whole family. And I'm sure the kids enjoy it too, because then their bikes have a place now, whereas before it was like, their bikes are full of sawdust. We'd have to dust it off.
Right.
It was trapped in the house. There was lots of extra cleaning. Yes. So I think the shop gave us that separation of work and life.
Yeah.
And the kids are excited to go to the shop some days because if we're just packaging, they're building with the leftover pieces. And we have a bazillion birdhouses, doll houses, like all these different things that they've built.
Wow.
Car tracks. And so
I'm going to send my daughter there.
Yeah, for sure. Sick days with Josh.
Sick days. I'll be like, hey, Josh, what you doing? My parents were entrepreneurs and they owned a warehouse. And I just remember climbing on boxes and just pretended this city was my world. And that was really exciting. So imagine the creativity that you're giving your kids by being able to build and create different things. You're probably spawning their creativity in a whole nother level too.
They always do that for their friends' birthday gifts.
Yeah.
So they get invited to a birthday party and we're making a name sign for their friends, right? So the kids get to be like, my parents made made this. And then we just had Charlotte's birthday on the weekend, and all the kids made their own name rounds. So we had the rounds, they painted them all, they put their names, stars, rainbows. The little boys did some like baseball shapes, and it was the craft at the birthday party. But it's really all encompassing in our lives. All the time we're doing different things with all the different machines we have.
Getting creative.
My kids will take home from summer camp other kids' water bottles, and they're like, they'd really like it to have a mermaid on it. And I'm like, but do their parents know that we're lasering up their water bottle? But it's okay.
I wouldn't be mad about it, Sarah. I wouldn't be mad about it. I love that. What's your most used emoji?
It's the little face it's the empathy emotion with like the tears, but they're not really crying. They're just like emotional.
Like touching.
Yes. It's you're showing me that adorable picture of your baby. I have to put that one on there. That's my number one use.
That makes sense. Mine is like the laughing one turned to the side. I use that one like a lot because I'm just always laughing. Are you a texter or a talker? Texter. Okay. And what's a nickname that your friends or parents used to call you?
We're actually not a nickname family on my side, whereas Josh will nickname everybody. Everybody's got a nickname, whereas we don't. Like, I've always been Sarah, and I don't know if it's because it's the shorter name. Like, what are you going to nickname it to?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't use nicknames, and I call my kids their full names, whereas Josh has nicknames for the kids and their friends and for this and that. Yeah.
And you call your kids always by their full names?
Full names, yeah.
Really? Because Charlotte's like kind of a commitment, right? Like,
but what are you going to nickname it? Char? No. Charlotte. It's beautiful. And we originally named her that because we liked the name Lottie.
Yeah.
And like our goddaughter always has this tiny little hair pony in. So her name is Spike. Like, just
that's
different
so
things
cute.
for different people.
I'm like that too. I will have a nickname for everyone, whether you like it or not. And nicknames come in for everyone that I know. And for my dog, I have about 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, my dog just has her full name, Penny.
That's it.
That's it.
Not pens.
Nothing.
Not peens.
Nope.
Not peanuts.
I don't know. Josh probably has a whole bunch, but
me and we'll rap all day about this. And last question is, what's your favorite way to relax after a long day?
I love to read in the bath.
Yeah?
That is my favorite. I never get to.
Do you like Kindle or are you like book
I'm an
person?
iPad with the library app.
Oh.
The Libby app. Yep.
Okay.
It's always a surprise because you have to put books on hold and they come in 34 weeks. So you have
no
you idea. Oh, yeah. Like it's the free library app. But the books take so long to come in that
even the digital version?
Yes.
Why?
Yes. They only have so many digital versions.
Because that is weird.
Well, no, because otherwise I think they would have to buy more digital.
Oh,
in that sense.
See. Okay.
But I like I put this on hold like a year ago. And now it's popped up. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Do you have any like good reads that you just, what was your favorite last read?
I just finished the series by Becca Mack.
Okay.
Josh plays hockey with her husband. So that's how we knew about her.
Okay.
And she's now like a New York Times bestseller and she's from Smithville. And her series is amazing.
Is that the one that everyone's reading, The Court of Whatever's? No, right?
No, this one it's one of those smut books from TikTok.
Oh.
It's fantastic. You have to read them. Yeah,
you'll have to send me the titles.
And it's very Canadian.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. I think your story is just incredible, how you found this business, or this business found you, really, and just how you're inspired and found the skill set that you never knew you had. You always grew up being a teacher, and now all of a sudden you're a social media expert. I'm going to say expert. And
that's
you're going to
too
say,
kind.
Okay. So you can find Sarah at timberwooddesigns.ca. She's also on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. And we're going to link everything in the show notes. And thank you so much for being on today. It was honestly such a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad you joined us today for the Fearless Entrepreneurs podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or someone who could use a little inspiration. You can always reach me, your host, Cindy Chang, directly on Instagram or Spotify DM. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to hit subscribe and leave a review. It truly means the world to me. Until next time, stay fearless.